Guess who's back?
Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about Earl Thomas, the big news, current free agent. We're going to talk about his connection to the Cowboys, how we see he could possibly fit in this team. But before we get into that, please subscribe to the channel. If you like NFL or just our Dallas Cowboys content, please subscribe to Dos and Tres. That is what we produce here. We will try to keep up with all of the latest news. It seems like the Cowboys have big news almost every week now, which is awesome after a big dry spell because of COVID. But let's get into it. Earl Thomas, free agent. RJ, we're just going to start off right into it. Why do you want Earl Thomas to be a Dallas Cowboy? Why do you think he would be a good fit? Of course, we'll get into a little bit more of why he's a free agent on my end. Okay. But let's just start off with you. Why do you want Earl Thomas to be a free agent?
First off, I hope this isn't like cheating, but going off of recent news, Clinton Dix has yet to separate himself from Darian Thompson, and you don't know if that's a good play towards Darian, or is that just a more bad sign, more ramifications towards the fact that the really unstable position that Dallas has had over the past years is the safety position. You know, trying to move Byron back there, moving him back to cornerback, having a guy like Heath work up from the practice squad, kind of like a blue-collar player, then he worked himself up and everything, got himself a safety, but you've never had that premier guy back there to really that back end. Everybody wanted Xavier to step up and do good last season. I feel like in a scheme, sure, maybe with the new scheme this year, playing more to his strengths in his role, maybe he'll be better, but that's maybe and hoping. With Earl, you have a guy that's he's been the number one graded safety by Pro Football Focus since 2014 every year. He was the fourth best safety as far as coverage snaps goes, yards per play allowed. Despite the off-field issues, which we'll get more into, it just solidifies a spot that's been unstable for the past years. And with the front, here's the one thing. When he was in Seattle, they had a great front. I expect Dallas to have a great front this year with their signings. I don't think there's anybody better that you could ask to command the back end of your defense than somebody that's been in the same situation like that.
Quickly on that point, he also had a Hall of Fame Richard Sherman, a Hall of Fame Cam Chancellor. Like they were stacked. I did see a tweet from one of the Seattle. I think it was a Seattle reporter that during that year, it wasn't Sherman that was the alpha. I mean, they were all alphas, but the main guy was Earl. And they went a little bit further into that, saying that if Earl's not going to be your alpha on defense, then it's not going to be a good fit. He's got to be the guy. Which I feel like it's more for the secondary, so because we know Tank is probably that. Yeah. He would be, or Tyrone Crawford. Tank and Tyron are probably the guys that are like, hey. Yeah. Or you could even say maybe Sean Lee, like when it really goes to shit, when shit hits the fan, Sean Lee's the guy that everyone falls back on. Yeah. All right. So in this video, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I mean, almost with 90-something% of the time, we're agreeing on a lot of things, Cowboys. I'm not 1,000,000% on board like I would have been in the past because of the off the field, and we're going to talk about that. I mean, you cannot question Earl Thomas on the field. He's consistently been one of the best at his position, and even last year he was still really, really good. Granted, on a defense that really didn't have to do as much because their offense was so good, but that's kind of what we envisioned for this Dallas Cowboys team this year. Okay, so why is Earl Thomas a free agent? So this all stemmed from a practice dispute that happened last Friday. There was a coverage breakdown, and Earl Thomas flung his helmet off and got into it with a teammate, fellow safety Chuck Clark. Apparently the fight and whatever was said went so off the rails that the team sent Earl Thomas home. The Ravens, I mean, I always talk about them as one of the most class organizations. They have a leadership group between the players, and that group expressed to John Harbaugh and the organization that they would be okay if they were to release Earl Thomas or to trade him, that they didn't feel like he was going to fit in anymore. And then we come to Sunday, I believe it was yesterday, Sunday, and Earl Thomas is released 2 days later. And then, of course, as news come out, just like it's almost a timely news that of Darian Thompson, shifting in front of Clinton Dix, or both of them rotating at the one for the safety spot. more news about Earl Thomas starts coming out, that he was late to meetings. It wasn't inconsistent. He wasn't showing up on time. It didn't seem like he was prepared. That's what the teammates were saying.
And one of the things was he told the coach to worry. He said, I had to go get my car washed.
Yeah.
Well, that was like, but that's a thing that you say that's like more so like if you just kind of like when you don't want to be somewhere. That's how I take that in particular, because you know it's like when guys show up to practice or they say something, always here, always there. It's like, well, do you even want to be here?
I get it, but okay. So Earl Thomas, right? Let's go all the way back to 2017, right? I was at the Seahawks game, where I was like, "This is do or die." Gotta get, and then it was one of the most terrible games to watch. It was heartbreaking, whatever. Earl Thomas had a great game, but he runs down Jason Garrett after the game, follows him to the doorway of the locker room through the tunnel, and says, "If you have a chance to get me, come get me." Okay, everybody's like, that's when this whole thing kicked off. The Earl Thomas to Dallas. It's been 3 freaking years. Okay, so then the next year, the Cowboys were in talks. It didn't go through. Dallas plays Seattle. Earl Thomas makes a big play, intercepts Dak Prescott, and basically seals the win for them. Afterwards, he said they should have come and got me if they wanted me, type things. Just be like, F you. This is what happens type thing. Right there, I was already like, okay. I get it, emotions, whatever, but the guy's coming back at you. All right, fine. Get into further. Okay, he's a free agent now. He can pick wherever he wants to go, but all this time saying, Dallas is where I want to be. Dallas is where I want to be. He goes after the big money, which is the Ravens. They offered him, they made him the highest paid safety at the time in the league. Mm-hmm. I believe that's already been surpassed. It was a very front-loaded deal. He actually made $22 million in the first year.
Yes, he was very, 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 very good. Like, who wouldn't have taken that deal? Yeah.
But a lot of the guaranteed money was front-loaded into that first year. So then let's just fast forward to now. You're talking about not wanting to be somewhere. This guy maybe realizes, hey, I already made my money. I could cut and run and get to a situation I want, which is all good. Yeah, whenever you're looking at it as Earl Thomas is going to come and be a Cowboy, but what's to say he's not going to do that to the Cowboys? Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm going to play devil's advocate. And I don't know, man. We just don't. The guy is a big question mark right now. He's almost becoming, okay, I mean, he's not to the level of an Antonio Brown diva, but he's coming out in the news on the level of Antonio Brown. Even more off the field. Earlier this offseason, it came out in a story in TMZ. He didn't want this to go public. I don't think they thought I was going to go public. But his wife found him cheating on her at some hotel, something, with his brother and 3 women. In the same bed. Okay, I don't want to go into far specifics, but I mean, whatever your morality is, the guy has judgment issues. The guy has, he has questionable judgment. His wife pulled a gun on him, aimed it at him, and a report I saw pulled the trigger. But it was an empty chamber, so thank God that. And then nothing happened there. No charges went through. Whatever, obviously there was a police report filed. And then, it kind of went quiet after the initial, oh my God, what the hell, this is a crazy thing. So, I don't know, man. If you just took the off-the-field issues and the on-the-field play, I mean, it's like polar opposites. It's as worse as it can be, and it's as good as it could be. I'm going to say if the price is right, go get the guy. But, talking about a guy that doesn't want to be somewhere, you would think a guy of this premier talent would have already been signed. It's been over 24 hours now since he's been able to sign, right?
Yeah.
What's to say he doesn't like the offers that he's getting? Let's just say he settles for Dallas because he wants to be there, right? He comes to Dallas. Let's just say it's an $8 million deal, $6 million. Let's just say 6. Bargain barrel, just like they're signing everybody else. He comes to Dallas and he's already in a pissed off mood. He's constantly in the back of his head, man, I mean, they freaking shortchanged me. They're treating me like a subpar player, even though, in his mind, he is a great player. That's just a situation that you could put yourself into that can, once things maybe start going bad for a game or two, or a practice or two, then they start kind of snowballing into a bigger thing. That's just my concern.
I feel like, first of all, what I read is, the more he signs for this next contract with the next team, the more will be taken away from his guaranteed from the Ravens contract.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So,
and I think it's $10 million is what is what the dispute's going to be.
So if I'm Dallas or a team that wants to sign him, I kind of play a role where we're going to give you a friendly contract, but we're going to split it down like the middle, where it's like, hey, there's going to be wording here. If there is any contract detrimental to the team, it voids everything.
Yeah.
It basically voids everything. But at the same time, we understand that the more you sign for, I don't know what the wording is as far as whether that's upfront money, bonus money, incentives, or all together collectively. But I would say if this wording right here is going to take away from that contract previously, we'll word it different for you to where it doesn't do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And then that way, and then and another reason why I feel more confident is if Earl did come over here, is I think Dallas would be a smart enough team to do that. Is considering if you really go look at McCoy, they must have saw something in the physical with his quad that ended up actually leading to this injury that just happened, and which they were able to save money now because they cut. I mean, the harsh business. It's business. It's a harsh business. They were able to cut him and save money. Dak just spoke to the team about everybody making a sacrifice and staying in the hotel, and everybody followed. There's no question in the locker room and in the organization who's the leader and who has the voice of the entire team, and that's Dak. And there would be no hesitation for if someone like him or a guy like Tank, or like I think Tank would probably be the next guy right underneath Dak, because I feel like Sean has been a part of maybe too many other teams, and this is more of that younger core group that has come in together.
No starter anymore.
Yeah. There'd be no question in my mind that, hey, you're here, we're here to win, we're not here for you to mess anything up. This is what it is, this is what we do here, and either it's like that or you're out.
Yeah. I agree 100% that the Cowboys are, they would be fools not to, kind of write a contract that basically protects them every which way, because, it's very rare that you see a player of this caliber becoming a free agent, 3 weeks away from the season starting?
He's also the type of guy, though, that showed up a week before the season started in Seattle and immediately was already making an impact. Yeah. So that's the kind of player he is.
Yeah. No, he's a great player. There's just going to be, you're always... Look, at the end of the day, obviously you want them to sign him. I want them to sign him too, but the price is just going to be right. But
like I said, under those circumstances.
Yeah, he's going to have to know what his role is coming into this team, and just basically know that he's damaged goods at this point. Everybody knows your shit. Everybody knows your dirty laundry, man. Like, you can't just go be the high and mighty, I'm this elite player. No, everybody knows what went on in the offseason. Everybody knows why you got kicked off the team. And like I said before, the Ravens, one of the most class organizations, to cut a player of his caliber is crazy.
I did see, I'll touch on a couple of things real quick here. I always go back to Jerry's comment when it comes to stuff like this, where he said, this is probably my last decade. To get another Super Bowl, see another Super Bowl. And that's as real as it gets. I was being honest with himself. Steven answered a question this morning, not how we normally see under a Jason Garrett era, which was we like what we guys have here. He said more of a thing. Well, with Griffin, it was we're not going to say anything until it all comes together and it happens. Basically saying, look, we're open to any. Basically,
he's saying, like I told you, he's saying nothing but giving you something to talk about. Is basically what it is. Almost like a Jerry tactic. He's saying, well, if we're talking to him, or if we're not, whether we are or not, we're not going to say anything about it because we learned that it's better not to say anything.
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty right here. In 2001, Charles Woodson had, I think, a DUI, and 2005 he had an altercation, I think, with a woman or his wife, and McCarthy and that team were able to bring him in
to Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay, and it
basically revitalized his career, went to win a Super Bowl. Look, I think we've already seen so far with some of the, they may not be in the prime of their career, but at one point they were some of the best at their position, like McCoy, like Everson Griffin, Dontari Poe, Clinton Dix, all these veteran guys coming to the team. Almost every one of them has said that McCarthy had a big part in why they decided to come to Dallas. And then obviously seeing the talent that they have on offense, the young talent they have on offense. A defensive player is going to say, okay, well, they have what they need on that side of the ball. I'm going to be that extra piece that they need to get all the way. Look, with the guys that they already have. We were talking about safety. It's been like? I mean, you could say that we've been asking for a safety since Roy Williams. Honestly, I mean, you could say that, but definitely within these last 3 years, there's been a safety every draft that you're like, man, I want them to get this guy, and they just never really valued that position in the draft. But the one name that's been ever present in player acquisition has been Earl Thomas. This is as good as an opportunity as they're going to get in their career, unless they get down into his age 32 season, kind of a la the Gerald McCoy signing, and he signs for a super bargain deal. They're not going to get another opportunity like this again. So if they have safeguards in place, pull the damn trigger. Get it done, and give yourself the best opportunity to go and win a Super Bowl. I mean, it's improbable with a first-year head coach, but it's improbable for all 31 other teams too. Only one team wins the Super Bowl. You just got to get in the dance and see what happens. I mean, so you got anything else to add?
No, I want him. So
I want him at the right price.
Yeah.
ET, come home.
The thing too, people don't know. I mean, he's from Austin. He's from Texas.
That's why his whole thing is like, I always want to be a Cowboy. I want to be in Dallas. I want to be in Dallas, Texas, but. All right, we'll see what happens in the coming hours, maybe coming days. I know teams are doing due diligence on him, of course.
Breaking news.
But hopefully Earl Thomas is a Cowboy. We can finally say it and see what happens finally all these years later. But we appreciate you watching this video. If you like Dallas Cowboys content like this, if you like NFL content, that is what we produce here. Subscribe to the channel Dos and Tres. Leave a like, leave a comment with your thoughts on Earl Thomas after all this news. We appreciate you watching, and we will see you next time.
Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you.